Hey guys, it's early. Okay, no, it's not. It's 11. But anyhow, I'm just finishing my coffee in my green cup because I'm Lady Miranda, and if you haven't seen my logo yet, it's got a crown. So there's that. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about the levels of autism, more specifically, Autism Level 1. And the reason why I feel like this is such an important topic, hold on, I'm going to turn my laptop around because the light is distracting me, and that's why I'm looking away. Anyhow, the reason why Autism Level 1 is so significant is because this is the level of autism that seems to face challenges that are unique to only this level of autism. Now, I don't want to make it seem like other levels of autism don't face important challenges, because that's not true. I also don't want to make it seem like the different levels of autism don't share challenges, because that's also not true. But there are certain aspects of Autism Level 1 that people don't think about, mainly because Autism Level 1 is considered high functioning. I'm going to put my cup down and say high functioning. The reason why so many autistic people hate the term high functioning is because it falsely implies that we don't need help, that we don't struggle that much, that we are able and capable of finding solutions to every problem we face, and that we are high functioning in all areas of life, which is very much not true. So we're going to dive into that. What many people see portrayed in the media is usually a more significant form of autism. So Autism Level 1 is considered high functioning. These are autistic adults who can usually live on their own, are largely independent, can work a job, can often go to school, and have families and seemingly lead a normal life. And I say seemingly because it's a little bit suspicious, and we'll talk about why in a minute. Autism Level 2 are people that can function largely independently, but can often have some needs that they need help with, such as some Autistic Level 2 people may not drive. They may not know a lot of kitchen skills. They may only be able to cook very basic things, or they may only be able to cook things in a microwave or a simple kitchen appliance rather than a stove. They're still independently feeding themselves. Sometimes they can work a job if it's part-time or a very simple job where there's not a lot of multitasking or a lot of in-depth detailed steps. These can be adults that you see working at stores doing restock, or working in other hospitality aspects where what they do is restock items, take out the garbage, help clean up, very simple tasks. They often live in group homes. Some of them can live independently, but often have to have someone come and help them do other tasks depending on their level of need within Level 2 of the spectrum. Autism Level 3 are adults that cannot live by themselves. They cannot handle most things independently. They generally are the ones portrayed in media, unfortunately. Autism Level 2 and Autism Level 3 are the ones that are generally portrayed the most in media, and they're portrayed incorrectly, and they're usually portrayed by actors who are not autistic. Okay, so we're not even using autistic people to act out these parts. We're using non-autistic people who are trying to be autistic, but they can't really understand the character fully because, hello, they're not autistic. So we need to normalize using autistic people as the actors so that things are accurate, because then that leads to a lot of people with this misconception of what autism is, leads to a huge misconception about what autism is supposed to look like. And so then they meet people like me who often get told, oh, well, you don't seem autistic, or you don't look autistic. Last time I checked, I didn't know autism came with deformities. What is autistic supposed to look like? Folks, this right here, this is what autism looks like. So, back to my original topic, ASD Level 1, high functioning. The reason why this is such a challenge is because we are largely independent. We can work, we can live by ourselves, we can go to school, we can have relationships, we can get married, we can have families, we can do all those things. So we falsely appear to not be autistic. I say falsely because the outside world, who does not live in our home, who does not drive with us in a car or take the bus with us or go grocery shopping with us or help us do our homework, the large population looking at our lives from the outside does not get to see the struggles that happen within our world in the privacy of our own homes, in the privacy of our own car, in the privacy of our classrooms. And that's where the disconnect is. That is why we, as autistic adults, level 1, high functioning, are expected to be like everyone else. We're expected to be able to adjust to societal norms. We're expected to know how to communicate with all adults out in the world. We're expected to know the rules of everything and the ins and outs. We're expected to be able to function regularly within a classroom and within a job without having to change anything or have specific accommodations. We're expected to be able to have wrenches thrown in our plans and our routines be broken up, and we're supposed to be fine. We're expected to be able to go through difficult or stressful situations without having a meltdown. We're expected to read between the lines. We're expected to be able to take hints. We're expected to understand the main point in a joke. It's unreasonable. And here's why. If you followed me at all, or if you haven't, this might be news to you, but I am currently in the process of getting my master's degree. Yes, I'm highly educated. That might be surprising for an autistic adult, but I will say that I go to college with accommodations. Most people aren't aware of that because I am well-read, because I am well-educated, because I have clear trains of thought that I can articulate myself. They assume that I can go through college without accommodations. I cannot. So, depending on the college and the kind of classes I take, my accommodations sometimes change. For my bachelor's degree, because I was in a nonprofit liberal arts university and our classroom sizes were super small, our classes met on Zoom, mostly because, hey, COVID happened, but also because my campus was local. So we met on Zoom rather than in the classroom. If you have any autistic friends or relatives or loved ones, you may realize that we hate being on camera. Me doing this has taken a lot of planning, energy, guts. I have to be mentally clear. I have to be able to focus. And it's been years. It's taken me a long time to even remotely put myself on camera like this. And I'm not fully comfortable with it. So one of my accommodations during my bachelor's degree was to have my camera off. Might sound like a strange accommodation to you, but unless you kind of want to see me clam up and freak out in the middle of class, I needed to not have my camera on because I do not like having a million eyes staring at me all at once, expecting me to say something intelligent. No go. Now in my master's program, my accommodations are more about deadlines for certain assignments, because sometimes I can't focus, especially around the holidays. Holidays are very difficult. I probably have more stress and meltdowns during the holidays than any other time of the year. I just moved into a new apartment right before Thanksgiving, and then Thanksgiving happened, and then, I have my classwork, and I just got back from Europe, and all these things were going on. So focusing is extremely difficult in stressful situations, and so I have to have those accommodations in place in case I need them. I may not need them, but it's better to be prepared to have them than to get caught in this situation and then fall behind, and then my grade drop down. The other issue with being ASD level 1 is grocery stores. If I could have someone who can help me navigate grocery stores every time I have to go, that would be friggin' amazing. I have largely taken to ordering my groceries online for pickup and then just going and picking them up and not even dealing with going inside. A, it's too crowded. B, it's too bright. C, it's too loud. And so when I try to navigate a grocery store, especially if I'm unfamiliar with it because I'm in a different grocery store or they've changed the layout, that really, it takes me twice as long to grocery shop. But it also causes me some anxiety. I start to lose focus. I can't concentrate. I forget what I'm there for. All kinds of things happen. Grocery stores are not autistic friendly, okay? I wish they were. There have been some articles about certain stores that will do sensory hours. If you really want to help us autistic people, please write to your local grocery stores about sensory hours. This means that they dedicate a certain period of the day to people with sensory issues. That means the music is usually quiet and soothing. The lights are turned down lower. They do it during a time period where the store is not very busy. So usually first thing in the morning, they have early hours that are sensory hours. And so that way people with sensory issues like me can shop for their groceries in a calmer, peaceful environment. Not enough stores do this. We need to start making that a real thing. And it doesn't even have to be every day. If a grocery store did that 2 to 3 times a week on their less busy days of the week, that would be good enough. It's something. It's a start. I don't go to the mall. If I have to go to the mall for any specific reason, I'm normally in and out. If I want to go walk around the mall to peruse things, which happens on rare occasion, very rare occasion, I normally can't be there more than 1 to 2 hours before I'm just overwhelmed on sensory overload and I have to get out. And when I have to get out, I have to get out now. That happens to me a lot if I go to Costco. I rarely go into Costco, but when I go into Costco, I'm in and out because by the time I find what I need, which I only buy like 2 things, and then get out of there, I'm already like, get me out of here. And I start to panic and have anxiety because it's too crowded, it's too loud. I'm starting to lose focus, which means that I tend to not really recognize where I'm going in the store and what I'm doing. And it becomes an issue. I avoid really busy, loud restaurants. I have walked into a restaurant that I really wanted to try, turned around and walked right back out because it was too crowded and too loud. So, all of these things, I'm not telling them to you for sympathy. I don't need your sympathy. I'm telling you these things so that you all understand that being autistic level 1, high functioning, puts an added stress on us to appear and act normal in an environment that we simply can't. It's unrealistic. So what can we do about it? We can write to congressmen. We can write to our local stores. We can write to our local restaurants. And when I say we, I'm not talking about us autistic people. I mean, granted, us autistic people can do that. when we're not busy trying to survive. But I'm talking about you guys. You all out there in the world, in the ether, in Facebook land, in metaverse, whatever you want to call it. You guys can write to your senators, to your congressmen, to your governors, to your local restaurants, to your local grocery stores, and say, hey, maybe we need to start doing this thing. Use your own experience as a reference point. Granted, if you're not autistic, you don't understand what it's like to be autistic. But if you know someone who's autistic and you've hung around them long enough to see where their issues lie, you can use them as a reference point. My son, my daughter, my niece, my nephew, my friend, and explain to them the struggle that you see as a non-autistic person that they're experiencing in these situations. Because that would really help drive that point home. It's well known that people tend to listen more to people who are not autistic rather than people who are autistic, which is sad, but it's true. The other thing to remember is that just because we don't appear autistic doesn't mean we're not struggling. We still need that safe, quiet zone. We still need that safe space. I do better one-on-one with people or in very small groups of people I know. If you put me in a bigger group of people I don't know, you're not going to get a lot out of me. And it's important for us to recognize these things and understand that even though someone like me, who is highly educated, lives independently, works a job, which I want to come to the job thing later because that in and of itself is a whole topic. And that's really one of my main platforms that I want to work on. What was I saying? Oh, my point is that someone like me who appears to have herself put together lacks a set of skill set. Okay, I lack reading between the lines. I lack understanding hints. I lack knowing what societal norms are. I lack learning how to interpret facial expressions, sometimes tone of voice. People will often tell me, oh, well, why are you using that tone of voice? I don't even know what tone of voice I'm using. I have a hard time recognizing it. Interrupting when others are speaking, that's something that happens without my knowledge. It just happens. And I'm okay with people gently telling me like, hey, you're interrupting, and I'm fine with that. But people think that I automatically know when I've done something wrong, or I automatically know when I've offended someone, or I automatically know, or should know, like I should know when someone is angry or upset with me for some reason. I don't know. You have to tell me. And you can be very direct and honest about it, but there is a way to tell me tactfully and don't be an ass. Because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, I had no clue. I don't know when people are flirting with me. I don't know when people are trying to be my friend. I don't know when I don't know. But because I appear normal, I appear, whatever normal is, I appear high functioning, I appear to have myself put together, all of these expectations are on my shoulders. Do me a favor. If you know someone is autistic or they tell you I'm autistic, stop putting those expectations on them. Immediately drop all your expectations, throw them out the window, regardless of how put together they seem, regardless of how well they seem to function or how well they seem to be doing for themselves. Throw all your expectations out the window and just try to learn from that person's perspective. If you are truly an advocate of autistic people, and you're truly an ally, and you truly love someone who is autistic, or you are truly a friend to someone who is autistic, the best thing you can do is educate yourself. Ask them questions. Ask them what they struggle with. Ask them what they need help with. Ask them what's important to them. Read books by autistic people. please don't read books by non-autistic people about autism. That only gets you so far. I promise you, the experts, the real experts, are autistic. Okay? Not anyone else. Us, the autistic people, we are the experts. We need to start making this world not just inclusive, but better at being understanding, better at being accepting. It's not okay to continue to force these expectations on autistic people and expect us to learn. We don't have that skill set. You can try to pound it into my head all day. I will never have that skill set. I was not born with it. I cannot learn it. Believe me, I've tried. So, that is my soapbox for the day. Autistic level 1, we have all these extra pressures and issues because we don't appear to have all these needs, but I promise you, hang around with me long enough in my private life and you will see all of my quirks and needs and whatnot. And to top it off, I just want to say one last thing, and that is, if you are friends with an autistic person or you have a loved one who is autistic, please make sure you are reaching out to them. Don't expect them to reach out to you all the time. Don't expect them to reach out to you first before you talk to them. For autistic people, it is not a two-way street. We try to make it a two-way street because we know that that's what's acceptable or what's expected. But socializing for us is a huge, and I cannot express how huge, it is a huge issue for us. It is a huge problem. Socializing is probably at the bottom of my priority list, and we're not good at it. We struggle with understanding all of the socialization things. I've learned a lot just from hanging around with people and being a musician, and that's helped, sure, but not everybody has the luxury of learning. Not everyone has that luxury. Not everyone gets to be a musician. If it wasn't for my love of music, I wouldn't connect with any of you guys. No offense. You're all lovely people. But the reality is that socializing is not even remotely on my radar most of the time. I have a tendency to over-isolate, which is not good for my mental health at all. But I also struggle to be the one to always reach out first. And I find that with a lot of people that I communicate with, I'm having to reach out first. And at some point, I stop reaching out because I just can't anymore. It's too much. It's beyond my mental capacity in a lot of ways. So, reach out to your autistic people. Check on them. Even if it's just, hi, how are you doing? I hope you have a good week. Whatever the case is, I know we're all busy. I know we don't all think about socializing. But what socializing is for you is 10 times harder for me. You sending a message that seems simple is twice as hard for me because I don't know how it's going to be perceived. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing. There are so many things that I have to plan to reach out to people. I go through my brain about what's appropriate to say, how I should start my conversation, because a lot of people expect you to have a greeting, and I just want to ask my question and get an answer. I don't want to deal with greetings because I hate small talk and I'm terrible at it. So just be mindful. Be aware that this is a thing, and we're great people. We love friends. We suck at socializing. So help us out. All right. Peace.